Marcus Halle stood on the balcony of the Alliance Embassy. Far above the shining alien capital of Velaris Prime, the night sky was alive with soft blue clouds and drifting light stars that floated like tiny lanterns across the dark. The whole city glowed like a living jewel, full of colors no human city had ever shown. But Marcus did not notice any of that beauty. His eyes were fixed on one person, Princess Leora of the Volari. She walked across the palace courtyard below, her steps slow and graceful, her silver skin glowing under the floating lights. Her long violet hair moved gently behind her like a calm river, and her golden eyes reflected every spark of the night. She walked as if her presence alone brought peace to the world. Marcus felt his heart shake. He had seen her only 3 times before. All small moments in meetings or peace gatherings. But every time he saw her, he felt something warm rise inside him. Something he did not understand, something he could not push away. He leaned on the balcony rail and whispered without thinking, speaking only to the night sky, "She's so beautiful." His voice trembled slightly. "I wonder if she'd ever marry me." The moment the words left his lips, he froze. What did he just say? Why did he say it? Why out loud? Marcus laughed quietly at himself, embarrassed. "Yeah, right," he muttered under his breath. A princess marrying a human soldier? Impossible. He wasn't anyone special. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't rich. He wasn't a leader or chosen hero. He was just Marcus, a simple soldier from Earth. A man with scars he tried to hide and fears he didn't talk about. And the Volari. They were elegant, wise, ancient. Their princess was like poetry in motion, a symbol of their entire civilization. Marcus shook his head and stepped back from the balcony, hoping the wind had swallowed his foolish whisper. He had no idea his voice had carried soft, but clear enough. Because he wasn't alone. Ambassador Tevran, an old Volari diplomat with deep blue markings on his face, had been standing behind a pillar nearby. He wasn't spying. He was simply walking past the balcony until he heard Marcus's whisper. Tevran stepped forward slowly, and Marcus jumped in surprise. "Oh, sir. I didn't see you there." The ambassador raised a brow, the corners of his mouth lifting in a curious smile. "Humans speak their hearts loudly," he said, "even when they believe they are alone." Marcus's cheeks burned. "I wasn't serious, sir. I was just speaking nonsense. I didn't mean any disrespect." Tevran looked out over the courtyard, where Princess Leora still walked peacefully, unaware of the sudden chaos one human whisper had begun. "Disrespect?" Tevran repeated softly. "No, Marcus Halle. I heard no disrespect in your voice. Only honesty." Marcus blinked, confused, but before he could respond, Tevran walked away slowly, hands behind his back. Marcus sighed heavily and rubbed his face with both hands. "I really need to learn when to keep my mouth shut." He headed inside the embassy, thinking the moment was over, but words have wings on Velaris Prime, and whispers travel far. By sunrise, the palace gardens were alive with rumors. Servants whispered as they tended to the glowing plants. Guards exchanged glances as they patrolled. Advisors spoke quietly, passing the story from ear to ear. The human soldier spoke about the princess. He said she was beautiful. He wondered if she would marry him. He meant it. Rumors on Velaris were delicate things. Yet this one spread like soft fire through dry leaves. It reached places Marcus never imagined. It traveled through halls, down pathways, past shimmering crystal walls. And finally, it reached the one person Marcus never wanted to hear it. Princess Leora herself. She was sitting near a fountain, brushing her violet hair when her advisor, Nira, approached her with a gentle but troubled expression. "Your Highness," Nira said softly. Whisper has reached the palace." Leora looked up, golden eyes calm but curious. "What kind of whisper?" Nira hesitated, then bowed slightly. "About a human soldier." "Marcus Halle." Leora blinked, surprised. "Marcus? What did he say?" Nira swallowed. He said, "You are beautiful." A pause, and he wondered if you would ever marry him. Leora's breath caught. The world seemed to go quiet around her. Her heart, usually steady, calm, noble, beat faster. Marcus thought that. For the first time, the princess felt something new. Something warm, something dangerous, something she wanted to understand. And in that moment, everything began to change. Princess Leora sat silently near the fountain, her long violet hair brushing her shoulders. The morning sunlight reflected off the glowing water, but it could not calm the sudden flutter in her chest. Marcus Hale's words echoed in her mind. "She's so beautiful. I wonder if she'd ever marry me." She had only seen him a few times. A human soldier, young, brave, and far from her world. He was different from everyone else she knew, calm yet strong, quiet yet honest. And now, somehow, a single whispered sentence had carried across the city and reached her ears. Her hands trembled slightly as she looked at the fountain's gentle ripples. She had never felt anything like this before. The Velari were taught to lead with their minds, to keep emotions measured and graceful. Love, desire, longing. Those were feelings that came too quickly, too dangerously. And yet, she could not deny what stirred within her. Nira, her advisor, watched quietly from the side. She had seen the princess react to many things in her life, but never like this. Your Highness, Nira said softly, it is not just gossip. The entire palace knows now. Your people, even the council, have heard. Leora's golden eyes widened. The council? They heard? Nira nodded. Yes, but the important part is not what they think. It is how you feel. What do you think, princess? Leora closed her eyes. She had been trained to be cautious, to weigh every word, every action. And yet, her heart leapt in a way she could not explain. I do not know, she admitted. I barely know him. But there is something in him. Something honest. Something I trust. Nira smiled faintly. Humans are unpredictable. But perhaps unpredictability is what we need to understand them. Leora opened her eyes again and stood. I need to see him. I must know if this connection is real. Not as a rumor, but as truth. She walked through the palace halls, her steps light but determined. Guards and servants whispered as she passed, sensing the unusual urgency in her movements. Marcus had spoken from his heart, but now it was her turn to follow hers. Meanwhile, Marcus had returned to his quarters, unaware of the stir he had caused. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor, replaying the night's whisper over and over. His heart had beaten faster than he remembered, and he felt both foolish and hopeful. It was impossible, he told himself. She is a princess. I am a human soldier, yet even as he tried to convince himself, a small part of him hoped. A dangerous, thrilling hope. A soft knock came at the door. Enter, Marcus called. Straightening up, the door opened, and to his surprise, it was not a Velari guard or ambassador, it was a messenger with a small note. The Velari script shimmered softly on the paper. He read the words aloud, heart racing. The princess requests your presence in the palace gardens. Come at once. Marcus blinked. His knees felt weak. She wants to see me? He hurried to dress properly, trying to control the nervous energy swirling inside him. His mind raced with questions. Was this a trap? Was it a test, or was it something more? By the time he arrived in the gardens, Leora was already there, standing among the glowing flora. The flowers seemed to bend slightly toward her, as if welcoming her presence. Marcus could not take his eyes off her. She looked more beautiful than he had imagined, more radiant than any light in the city. Leora's golden eyes met his, and for a moment, the world fell silent around them. Marcus felt every doubt, every fear, every impossible thought vanish in the warmth of her gaze. Marcus Holly, she said, her voice gentle but steady. I heard what you said. The words you whispered. Marcus swallowed hard. I didn't mean for anyone to hear, Your Highness. It was a foolish moment. I didn't mean any disrespect. Leora stepped closer, her eyes searching his. It was no disrespect. It was honesty. And honesty is rare, even among our own people. Marcus's chest tightened. He wanted to speak, to tell her everything he felt, but the words stuck in his throat. She smiled faintly, the kind of smile that could calm storms and heal wounds. Do you truly mean it, Marcus? That you wondered if I would ever marry you? He nodded slowly, his voice trembling. I do. I would never ask if I did not truly mean it. But I never imagined that it could be possible. Leora's heart skipped. She reached out her hand, just enough to brush his. A spark of warmth passed between them, a simple touch carrying more meaning than words could hold. Perhaps, she whispered, we will find out if it is possible. And in that moment, both human and Velari felt the first spark of something dangerous, something wonderful. Something that could change both their worlds forever. The whisper had traveled from one heart to another. And now, the impossible seemed closer than ever. Marcus Holly felt his heart hammering as he followed the palace guards through the glowing halls of Velaris Prime. Every step echoed against the crystal floors. But the sound barely registered in his mind. His thoughts were filled only with one thing: Princess Leora. He had seen her in the gardens before, but he had never imagined being summoned to meet her like this, not privately, not without witnesses. His hands were clammy, his uniform suddenly heavy and constricting. He kept telling himself to stay calm, but the human part of him, a nervous, foolish soldier, could not stop the racing of his heart. When the guards stopped at the garden chamber, he hesitated. The doors were large, carved from shimmering silver crystal. Beyond them, he could see a soft light glowing. And standing in that light was Leora, more breathtaking than ever. Her golden eyes met his from across the room, and he felt a warmth rush through his chest that made him dizzy. "Marcus Hale," she said softly, her voice echoing like music in the chamber. "I heard your words." He froze. Words he had whispered to the night sky, words he thought would disappear into the wind, had reached her ears. Now she stood before him, calm, elegant, yet with a hint of curiosity that made his heart skip. I didn't mean to cause trouble, Your Highness," Marcus stammered. "I was only speaking. Foolish thoughts. I never expected anyone to hear me." She stepped closer, the soft glow of the crystals highlighting her silver skin and violet hair. "I am glad someone heard," she said simply. "Truth should not be hidden, Marcus. I wish to understand it." His throat tightened. She wished to understand him? His words, spoken carelessly, had opened a door he never thought possible. Before he could respond, the chamber doors burst open with a loud clang. Councillor Wren, one of the oldest members of the Valari Council, stormed in. His deep blue markings looked sharper in the light, and his eyes burned with disapproval. "Princess!" Wren shouted. "You cannot entertain such folly. A human soldier daring to speak of marriage. It is outrageous." Marcus felt himself shrink, suddenly small in the presence of so much anger. He wanted to explain, but his voice seemed useless against the councillor's fury. Leora's expression hardened, but her voice remained calm. "Councillor Wren, your anger does not change the truth." Marcus spoke honestly, and I wish to hear him. Wren's glare swept over Marcus. "He is a human, unworthy of even standing near you. He has no right to claim." "I do not care for claims," Leora interrupted, stepping forward. "I care for honesty. I care for truth. And he has shown both. That is more than most can say." The chamber fell silent. Even the other councillors, usually calm and measured, looked at Marcus with surprise. Humans were strange to them, but honesty? That was a trait they valued, even above power. Marcus swallowed hard. His mind raced. He had expected anger, rejection, perhaps even ridicule, but not this. Not the respect in her eyes. Not the chance to show who he really was. The High Chancellor, an ancient Valari with silver markings along his face, finally raised a hand. "Human Marcus Hale," he said in a calm, measured voice. "Do you truly wish to stand beside our princess?" Marcus straightened, his chest aching with nerves and pride. I do. Not for power, not for reward, but because I respect her more than anything. I would never speak such words lightly." A murmur ran through the council. Leora's eyes shone, and for the first time, Marcus felt like he mattered, not as a soldier, not as a visitor, but as himself. Wren scowled. "Respect alone is not enough. Humans are reckless. They cannot understand our ways." "They cannot," the High Chancellor silenced him with a look. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we should see if this human is truly worthy. There is an ancient trial. The trial of the heart. No human has ever attempted it. If he succeeds, it will show his truth." Leora's face went pale. "Grandfather, you cannot. It is dangerous." The High Chancellor shook his head. "It is his only path, Princess. If he desires to be near you, he must prove himself." Marcus swallowed, feeling the weight of what was asked of him. The trial was said to test a being's heart, to confront their deepest fears and truths. No human had ever faced it, and many Valari doubted it could even be done. Yet as he looked at Leora, standing strong despite the council's anger, he knew he could not turn away. He could not abandon the possibility of something real, something honest, something that made his heart burn with hope. "I will face it," Marcus said quietly but firmly. "Whatever it takes." The council murmured among themselves. Wren's glare softened only slightly, though his disapproval remained. Leora smiled, faint but warm, and stepped closer to Marcus. "Then we will see if truth can bridge our worlds," she whispered. And with that, Marcus felt the first real step of their impossible journey begin. A journey of heart, courage, and a bond that would defy worlds. The council chamber was alive with tension. Crystal lights shimmered off the walls, but no light could warm the cold expressions of the Velari counselors. Marcus Halle stood at the center, his hands clenched at his sides. Around him, Elder Velari whispered quietly, casting uneasy glances at the human soldier, daring to face their ancient traditions. Princess Leora stood beside him, her golden eyes steady and bright, though a quiet worry tugged at her heart. She had wished to support him, to speak for him, but the council would not yield easily. Marcus had admitted he wished to stand beside her, to speak truthfully, and now the council demanded proof. Councillor Wren's voice cut sharply through the chamber. This is madness. A human cannot attempt what Velari have guarded for centuries. He will fail. It is dangerous, foolish, even reckless. Marcus drew a deep breath. I do not seek glory or power, he said calmly, trying to steady his voice. I only seek the truth. I will face the trial honestly, and if I fail, I accept the consequences. The chamber fell silent. The High Chancellor, a silver-marked Velari, whose voice carried centuries of wisdom, finally spoke. Then it shall be as you say. Marcus Halle will face the trial of the heart. He gestured to a large gate at the far end of the chamber. The gate shimmered with blue light, revealing a cavern beyond. It was not a simple test of strength or skill. This trial was ancient, built to challenge one's heart and soul, to bring the deepest fears and regrets into the open. No human had ever dared it. No human had ever returned. Marcus swallowed hard, feeling a knot of fear tighten in his chest. The Velari around him murmured again, doubt and worry flickering in their eyes. Yet in Leora's gaze, he found something that steadied him hope. You can do this, she whispered. I believe in you. In your heart. Marcus nodded, though his voice shook. I will not disappoint you. Or myself. With that, he stepped toward the shimmering gate. As he entered, a wave of cold energy washed over him. The chamber disappeared. The palace, the council, the gardens, everything vanished. He was alone in a vast cavern, the walls glittering with soft, floating crystals. A low hum filled the air, resonating deep within his chest. A voice echoed through the cavern. It was soft, melodic, yet firm. Marcus Halle. Why do you wish to stand beside Princess Leora? Marcus swallowed. Because she is honest, kind, and brave. She makes me want to be better. I want to be worthy of her. The cavern walls shifted. Crystal lights reflected his memories, his failures, the battles he had survived, the comrades he had lost. Faces of those he could not save stared back at him. Each memory carried a weight he had tried to bury, each loss a reminder of human fragility. Do you fear you are unworthy? The voice asked, echoing in every corner. Marcus's hand shook. Yes, I am flawed. I am not perfect. I have failed, lost, and caused pain. I am afraid I cannot protect her or make her happy. A wind stirred through the cavern, lifting his hair, brushing past him like invisible hands. Then why do you step forward? Because I cannot walk away, Marcus said, voice breaking. Because even if I fail, even if I am broken, I cannot stop caring. I cannot let fear decide for me. I want to stand by her, even if it costs me everything. The light in the cavern pulsed, warm and steady. Shadows retreated. The memories faded into the walls. The hum grew soft, almost like a heartbeat, matching his own. You have faced the truth of your heart, the voice said finally. You have acknowledged your fears, your failures, your desires. You have not hidden from yourself. That is the first step. Marcus fell to his knees, exhausted. He had confronted every fear he had buried, every memory he had tried to ignore. Every ounce of courage and hope he had carried into the trial had been tested, and yet, he was still here. A final light descended from above, enveloping him in warmth. For the first time, Marcus felt complete. Not strong, not perfect, but real. Honest, brave. Human. When the light faded, he was standing again at the entrance to the council chamber. Leora was waiting, her eyes wide with worry and relief. Marcus, she whispered, rushing to his side. He reached for her hand, gripping it tightly. I faced it, he said softly. I faced everything. I tried to be worthy. Her golden eyes glistened. And you are. You are already worthy in ways they cannot measure. Marcus felt a warmth rise in his chest that had nothing to do with the trial. It was hope, pride, and the quiet, growing bond between him and Leora. He had survived the trial of the heart, and now The impossible was only just beginning. Marcus Hawley stepped back into the council chamber, his body exhausted, but his heart alive. The crystal lights shimmered around him, and the murmurs of the Velari Council echoed softly through the hall. Every pair of eyes was on him, some filled with doubt, some with curiosity, and a few with awe. Yet none of it mattered as much as the warm, steady gaze of Princess Liara. She was standing at the center of the chamber now, her golden eyes bright, her violet hair glimmering in the soft light. She had not moved while he was in the trial, waiting with patience that Marcus did not think he deserved. Seeing her again, safe and beautiful, gave him strength he hadn't known he had. The High Chancellor, ancient and wise, spoke first. Marcus Hawley has faced the trial of the heart. No human has done so before. Few Velari could endure its tests and remain unbroken. The truth of his heart has been proven. A murmur ran through the council. Councillor Wren's blue markings looked sharper than ever, but even he did not speak. The High Chancellor turned to the other councillors. Look upon him not as a human, but as one who has faced his deepest fears. One who did not deny himself, and one who did not hide from truth. That is strength. That is worthiness. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Words he had never expected to hear now hung in the air, confirming something he had only dared hope. His hand found Liara's, and their fingers intertwined. The touch sent warmth rushing through him. Liara stepped closer. Marcus! Her voice was soft, yet it carried through the chamber, strong and clear. I saw what you endured. I saw your courage, your honesty, your heart. And I believe in you. More than anyone else. Marcus's throat tightened. He wanted to speak, to tell her how much it meant, how the thought of losing her terrified him, but words seemed too small. Instead, he nodded, squeezing her hand, feeling the unspoken bond between them grow stronger with every heartbeat. Wren finally broke the silence, his voice cold. You speak of proof, Princess, but a human. He is still an outsider. How can you trust him? How can you risk enough? Liara's voice rang like a bell. You have questioned him for long enough. Marcus has shown courage, honesty, and heart. Is that not more than enough? The chamber fell silent. Even the younger councillors seemed surprised by her boldness. Liara's words were not just a defense of Marcus. They were a declaration. Marcus felt his heart leap. He had survived the trial, yes, but it was her faith in him, her courage, that made him feel truly strong. He took a step closer to her. Princess, he said quietly, I do not seek to rule, or to claim your title, or to impress anyone here. I only wish to stand beside you, honestly, and to protect you if I can. Liara's golden eyes softened. And that is all I ever wanted to see. Not power, not wealth, not rank. Only truth. And a heart that is willing to fight for it. For a moment, the world seemed to pause. Marcus and Liara stood together, hands joined, hearts aligned, as if nothing else in the universe mattered. Even the murmurs of the council faded into silence. Then, slowly, the High Chancellor spoke again. The trial has been completed. Marcus Hawley has shown what few ever can, courage of heart and purity of intent. Let this be known across Velaris Prime. The councillors nodded slowly, some reluctantly, some with quiet admiration. Even Wren's glare softened, replaced with a cautious respect. Liara smiled at Marcus, faint but radiant. You have done what no one thought possible, she whispered. You have proven yourself not by force or title, but by who you are inside. Marcus swallowed, a mix of relief and disbelief washing over him. I did it because of you, he admitted softly. Because I wanted to be worthy of standing by your side. Because I could not bear to hide my truth from you. Her fingers brushed his cheek, and for a moment, he felt the world fade around them. Then you are worthy, she said simply. Not because of what the trial demanded, but because of who you are. A warmth spread through Marcus, filling every part of him. For the first time in his life, he felt seen, accepted, and understood. Not as a human soldier. Not as a visitor. But as himself, flawed, honest, and alive. The council chamber seemed brighter now. The crystal walls reflected their joined hands, the promise in their hearts. Marcus looked at Liara, and she looked at him. And the impossible suddenly felt possible. The whisper he had spoken months ago, half-dreamed and half-fearful, had grown into a bond stronger than any he could have imagined. And together, they would face whatever the future held side by side, hearts aligned, ready to challenge a world that had never seen such courage before. The council chamber was unusually quiet. The words of the High Chancellor still echoed in Marcus Hale's mind, courage of heart and purity of intent. He had survived the trial of the heart. Yet now a new challenge began, the challenge of being accepted by a world that had never fully understood humans. Princess Leora stood beside him, her hand brushing against his. Her golden eyes held both warmth and worry, and Marcus knew that despite the trial, the council's full approval was far from certain. He squeezed her hand gently, silently promising her that he would stand firm no matter what came next. Councillor Wren was the first to break the silence. His voice was sharp, almost like ice. Even if the High Chancellor acknowledges this, a human is still an outsider. How can we trust him with the princess's safety, with her future? Leora's eyes narrowed, yet her voice was calm and commanding. We trust him because he has proven himself. Not because of politics, not because of tradition, but because he has faced the deepest truths of his own heart. That is worth more than any law or custom. Marcus felt a swell of pride at her words. She was speaking for him, not because he demanded it, but because she believed in him. And that belief, more than any trial, was what made him feel strong. Wren snorted, but did not reply. The other counselors whispered quietly, unsure of how to respond. The human before them had done what no Velari had ever done. He had faced the trial of the heart and survived. His honesty, his courage, and his refusal to turn away from fear had left an undeniable mark. Leora looked up at Marcus, her expression softening. Marcus, the council may resist, and the city may gossip, but I will not walk away from what is true. If they cannot see your worth, then they must learn. We will show them together. Marcus swallowed, his chest tight with emotion. I am not used to this, he admitted quietly. I am not used to being seen in this way. But with you, I feel like I could face anything. Her golden eyes glimmered. Then we will face it, side by side. The council continued its discussions, but Marcus hardly heard them. His focus was on Leora, on the warmth of her hand in his, on the bond that had begun in a single whispered sentence months ago. A sentence he had never expected to carry this far. She's so beautiful. I wonder if she'd ever marry me. Now that whisper had grown into a promise, unspoken yet understood between them. Hours passed, and the chamber slowly reached a tense compromise. The council would allow Marcus to remain by the princess's side, but certain protocols had to be followed. He would be tested further, not by trials of strength, but by the council's observation and scrutiny. Marcus accepted it quietly. It was not the complete acceptance he had hoped for, but it was enough to keep him near Leora. Enough to continue proving himself, not only to the Velari, but to himself. Later, as the chamber emptied, Leora led him to a balcony overlooking the city. The lights of Velaris Prime glowed below, soft and magical, but Marcus hardly noticed them. He was focused on her. You were incredible today, she said softly. Not just in the trial, but in standing before them. You held your truth, even when they doubted you. Marcus shook his head. I only survived because I had you in my mind. Because I wanted to be worthy of you. And because I could not let fear decide for me. Leora smiled, a faint blush on her silver cheeks. Then you are worthy, Marcus. Worthy in ways they cannot measure. He took a deep breath. I don't know if I am ready for everything this world will throw at us. But I do know that I will not walk away from you. Not now, not ever. Her eyes glistened. Nor will I. We are different, yes. From different worlds. But what we share, it is stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. I feel it in every heartbeat. Marcus reached out, brushing a strand of her violet hair behind her shoulder. The city lights reflected in her golden eyes, and in that moment, the distance between human and Velari seemed to disappear. All that remained was truth, courage, and the fragile, beautiful bond they had begun to build. Then let us face the world together, he whispered. Yes, she replied. Together. The stars above Velaris Prime twinkled like silent witnesses to their promise. And though the road ahead would be filled with doubt, challenges, and perhaps even danger, Marcus and Leora knew one thing with absolute certainty. Their hearts were aligned. And nothing, not council, not tradition, not fear could break what had begun in a single, whispered sentence. And so, under the glow of the alien city, two hearts stood ready to change the course of history.